technical issues, but like technical issues after technical issues after technical issues. And I was like, oh my, I'm not even sure we're gonna make this happen.
Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Welcome,
Thanks for
welcome,
having me.
Carl.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
So, firstly, man, I want to say you have another Caribbean brother in the spot,
Let's
so
go.
usually meets me and Owen, but you from Haiti, right?
Yeah, born and raised in Montreal, but originally from Haiti. My parents are from Haiti. Moved in, in Canada in the cold in Montreal, and that's where I was born. But yeah, man, Asian blood.
Ah,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm Jamaican myself. You know what I'm saying? You have some, Haiti has amazing food. You know what I'm
Amazing
Oh,
saying?
food.
100%, man.
Yeah, amazing music. All of that.
Mhm.
That is a fact, man. So, jump in there as a quick icebreaker.
Yeah.
What was your favorite video game and video game company growing up? Two different things.
Yeah, yeah, no. So it's funny that you say that because it's not gonna make sense. So my favorite video game was Super Mario because that's the first real game that I was playing with my brother and
Mhm.
my father, and really got me into video game.
Mhm.
But my favorite company back then was Sega,
Oh, yeah, I knew you
and
were gonna say that.
just because Sega was the cool, like, the cool company, the cool kids. And I remember back then there was Mortal Kombat that came out, and you could have the blood on the Sega console, but not on the Nintendo console. So
Mhm.
all my friends, well, some of my friends who had the Sega Genesis back then, they were like, "Yeah, we have the cool console," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
gonna play on my Nintendo."
I always felt like the Dreamcast was like so ahead of its time.
For
Like that was
real.
one of
That
the
too.
one of the systems I was like, wow, this thing is the graphics, the games, and everything were just out of this world.
Yeah, yeah, 2000, man. Like, I was telling you about, like, when I was young, but my best actually console ever, and I mean, obviously the consoles now are amazing, but the
Mhm.
Dreamcast, what the Dreamcast was doing back then was like unheard of. Like, it was so cool, so in front of this time, right? So yeah, I remember Crazy Taxi. I
Yeah.
remember playing Shenmue on it. Like, it was amazing, amazing
Do you have
console.
Marvel versus Capcom?
Marvel vs. Capcom, like all that, man.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah, for
my
sure. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
are FGC
Those
guys
those
fighting
those
games.
controllers were like crazy big. They're
Yeah,
like
you were putting stuff in it. Like, they had that little
exactly. And
screen.
imagine me being like 6 years old at the time. I'm like my little hands, like I'm trying to like I'm going all the way up to the top to press a button. But it was all like,
yeah.
man, that was like the beauty of being like a young guy just playing video games with my brother back in Nairobi. So
Yeah,
man, it was beautiful times, man.
yeah. Oh no, definitely, definitely. So
Awesome,
no,
man.
those are great consoles for sure.
Awesome, man. So you have an amazing company, Northern Arena, and you have an incredible story of what you built. But
Mhm.
let's start at the origin story of you coming into fruition, building this.
Yep.
Walk us through the growth into Northern Arena.
Yeah, it's a fun story, man. Like, and it's sometimes life, you take opportunities and it brings you somewhere else, and
Mhm.
you just have to go with the flow. And that's kind of pretty much my life, where I was just passionate, wanted to get into video game, and I was like, oh man, how can I get into video games? I I didn't know. So my older brother told me, hey, you should do computer science, like, coding. Um, that can bring you somewhere, because usually the guys or the girls that are building those video games are coders. And I'm like, okay, perfect, this is what I want to do, not knowing, like, I didn't really care about like the coding part. It was just more like, I'm gonna get into the video game industry like
Yeah.
that. So I did that, and then started as a coder. So I graduated, started as a coder, never worked in a video game company
Mhm.
as a coder, but I started to work with TFO. TFO is a French TV Ontario, so I got the opportunity to work over there here in Ontario. So I was in Montreal, got the opportunity to move to Toronto, work as a dev, and then started to manage the team. So I was managing the team of developers, having fun doing that. And one day, one of the producer of the show, of one of the show in the channel, came to me and said, "Hey, man, like every time you talk to me, you always talk about tech and you gadget and you games. Would you like to have a segment on our show? Like, you present yourself well, and I think you'll be good for the show." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." And we'll try it.
Yeah.
So they say, "Hey, we'll give you a screen test, and then we'll see if it works." And I'm like, "Screen test? I don't know what that is, but yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take the screen test." and then
Yeah.
and then I did the test. Basically, it was just me on cam reading the teleprompter, just checking to see if I could do it. So I did that, and they were like, "Don't worry, man. Like, just talk to me the same way talk to the camera the same way you talk to me when you're presenting your gadgets and stuff." And I said, "Okay, yeah, no problem." So I did that, and they gave me the part. They're like, "Hey, man, you're really good. We would like you to be our tech expert on the show, tech and video game expert on the show." And I was like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." And they're like, "Yeah, by the way, it's a live show." And I was like, "What? Live show? Like, I never, never done that in my life."
Ooh.
Um, but that's how I started, being able, and that was kind of like my entry door to the gaming industry. Why?
Mhm.
Because at that point, I was creating my relationship with the publishers, with the game
Mhm.
creators, just because I was talking about their game on TV, and that opened some doors for me. And with my business, I was able to just connect more with them, and open my own business after that. When I was approached in 2014, that's when the click happened to me. I was like, okay, I can do something with this. I got approached by the Canadian Video Game Awards creator back then, and they're like, "Hey, Carl, like, we've seen what you've done, and we would like to, offer you the opportunity to produce the Canadian Video Game Awards." And I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Like, this is like exactly what I want, exactly what I need." At this point, you're really connected with the industry, and you'll be able to work with them closely. So I did that, and it opened a lot of doors for me. So that was kind of like the start. And then 2015, at the Canadian Video Game Awards, that's when I said, I was talking to a few partners, and I was like, "Esports, guys, like, we need to do esports. Like, I love you. Like, I'm watching a lot of Twitch channel and people competing online, and there's a lot of events around the world, but not a lot in Canada. We should do something about it." And then they're like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll try." And it was kind of like a pet project for me. But in 2015, that's when we announced the beginning of Northern Arena, and the next year we were on. And since then, I've been doing everything gaming. My life is video game, and I'm just passionate about it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So who was we at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I like to say "we" because it's like a collective or partnership, but it was basically me. But
I feel that. I feel that. I'm doing it all the times. We believe you have a great idea for you. It's
exactly.
only me.
But I did. What was cool is that I partnered with people that were also passionate, and I just build my team. If there's something that I'm good at, is really building team, and bringing passionate people together to create something really cool. So even back then, I knew that I could do something like that if I was bringing the right people on board to build this. And that's what I did. So I just make some phone calls of people that I knew in the industry, and I'm like, "Hey, guys, I'm going to do that esports thing. Would you like to be on board?" I remember back then, I was working a lot with Asus, the laptop company, computer company, and the PR person over there told me, "Yeah, Carl, like, I'm gonna support you. How many computers do you need?" 100? Is that okay? "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll send you 100 computers and screen for your event." And I was like, "Yeah." So
For free?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow.
Sponsorship, man. Yeah, yeah. So and that's also how we partner with the biggest telco in Canada. We partnered with
Mhm.
Bell back then, and Bell Canada decided to flip the bill, give us the support to do our events. Our first big event, our first big event was in Toronto, but then we had a massive one in Montreal at the Bell Center where the Montreal Canadiens play, and it was just exciting to have all that support and from not just the community but from different partners endemic sponsors and stuff. So yeah, it was a cool ride. It's still a cool ride. I'm still in it, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So that first year you launched, like, what are the key critical parts that impacted your growth? I mean, from getting the idea to launching it, because it sounds like it just went off by storm, but there's
That's it.
strategy involved in that. So share some of that strategy that like helped you really,
Yep.
come into the market and really have like total dominance from like the get-go.
Yeah, I think what's really important is relationship, and and I think that I would never be in that position if I didn't have those relationship at the get-go. So that means all my the few years before that where I was a tech and video game journalist, working at TFO, working at Cineplex as as their tech expert back then, and writing articles for CBC and stuff. So like I had a bunch of relationship with people in the industry already, and when I decided to start this, I had the plan. Like the plan was laid out. It's like this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. But how are we going to get into like how are we going to do this? Well, we need to make phone calls, and for me. Again, I was a phone call away, an email away to get access to major corporation and say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Would you like to be on board? Now, it was not as easy as it sounds. I mean, obviously, you imagine 2015, esports was not, in Canada, not super popular. So in, every time I had meetings with potential partners or sponsors, like I had to do education of what is esports, and explaining to them what it was, and then explaining to them the opportunities for them and for us, and then go from there. So but yeah, like we really had the plan, and then it was just like executing, getting in touch with the right partners, the right people to be able to execute that vision.
So what was the show or no show moment for you?
Show or no show, meaning like if it was make or break kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know
make
why
or
it's a show or no show. That just what came to
Kind of
mind, but
remind me of that
that's
show, like that, the briefcase show, like where the girls are like opening the deal or no deal for
deal.
some
there
reason.
there you go, there you go.
Yeah, I don't
um
know why, but yeah, that's what I
no
meant.
that, no no that's good, that's good. So I think the biggest moment for me was the Bell Center event, and I'm gonna tell you why. It was the scariest moment in my life, but at the same time the most fulfilling moment. And I was through the through the moon, right? Like, it was like, oh my God, we're gonna do an event at the Bell Center. I'm from Montreal, I'm French Canadian. I was like, oh, this is like the pinnacle, right? Like, if you're from Quebec, like you're doing an event at the Bell Center, it's a pinnacle, and it's a gaming event on top of that, gaming event organized by me. Like, this is crazy. So organizing that, be able to be prepare for that, that was exciting. The day before the event, the guys at the CH Group CH, which is the Montreal Canadiens, invite us to the suite upstairs just to show us, like, hey, this is what we do and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really great, I can't believe it. And then that night the Montreal Canadiens were playing the Devils, the New Jersey Devils, and I was watching that, like I was watching the game, and I'm like, wow, man, tomorrow this place is going to be full of gamers, and we're going to do a gaming event, and this is like professional hockey playing right now. We're going to be in that tempo, right? So excited, stoked about that. The preparations start after the game right away. They remove the ice. They start to prep for the show, and then the next day, technical issues, but like technical issues after technical issues after technical issues, and I was like, oh my, I'm not even sure we're gonna make this happen.
Wow.
And at that point, the pressure is so strong because yeah, I had all the media because obviously it's Bell. They got all the media outlets out there, from CBC to to TVA to like all the big media outlet in Quebec, and they're covering it, right? Like they're like, hey, this is like a big event, and I'm doing interviews and I'm like smiling and everything is cool, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh man, I hope this thing's gonna work.
You're losing it a
Um,
little bit. You're like, damn, like I hope this doesn't falter like any way through.
that's it, that's it.
Yeah.
And then and then yeah, and then everything went well. We executed, and that I think that was the moment where it's like, okay, the like everything opened for me, like, and it was like the haha moment, like we've done it. Obviously we executed, everything went well. At the last minute, like a little bit of stress obviously to make it happen, but when it was done, we realized that, hey, we accomplished something. And guys, I always say we, like, it's a team effort, right? Like, even though, yeah, it's my vision, and I'm the one who is holding the flame, but it's a big team effort. And I was super happy that we executed, and then from there, doors open. I get called by different companies, potential sponsors, all that stuff. Like, and then we made our name, right? At that point, that's when it was like, okay, Northern Arena is here, and from there we've been doing all kinds of cool initiatives, and I'm happy. Yeah.
All right. Actually, oh, and that's a good
Amazing
info. Go
story,
ahead,
by the
man.
way, man.
Yeah, that's an
Amazing
amazing
story.
story. Yeah.
Like I felt like the goosebumps just seeing you from like the inception of it to executing to being on TV and being at Bell Arena. Like I'm putting myself here at the Scotiabank Arena. Like that's where the Raptors play,
That's
and I'm
that's it.
gonna own the stage where the the,
That's it.
the Raps play. I know the feeling. I can just put myself in
Yeah.
your shoes, and it's a beautiful feeling, man.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. That was exactly it. That was exactly it.
Yeah, it's insane. All right. So where did you get the money from? Right? Was this all your money? or were you, or was the sponsors already there? Like, was ASUS paying as well and sponsoring? Like, walk us through that motion, because that's what a lot of us don't really have figured out yet. Is I want to do this event, I want to do this production, but I don't have the money.
Yeah, yeah, the money part is obviously really important. And that again brings me back to all those relationships that I had before, right? So yes, some of the money was coming from me, and personal investment. You're taking the risk, as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of that,
Ballpark. How much you talking?
Oh,
Like,
oh, the amount. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, so for that amount was 1.5 mil. So that was, yeah, yeah. So that was the, like, doing the whole event at the Bell Center. There was prize pool involved. There was players that we flew from around the world. Like, it was a big venture, and that money was coming part from us, me, like the investor, but also from the sponsors. So Bell, flipped a massive part of that bill, the ASUS and other partners that we had at the time. But yeah, it was a massive investment, that's for sure. Yeah, for one event like that, we're talking just
for
one weekend.
one event,
Yeah, yeah,
1.5.
Yeah, I'm sure those
That's
relationships you
crazy.
had like definitely gave you like access towards like certain people and certain doors,
that's it.
and it's like a testament towards like your career, right? Like how important relationships play, as you never know who this person could be, right? So f- taking that time to hone into it and being and checking up on it, you never know, hey, can you like give me an introduction to this person, like,
That's it.
and this has expedited your whole vision towards getting a bell, towards getting like a certain check that you needed to help this thing get through.
That's it. Never burn bridges, guys. Never burn bridges. It's important. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, basically those relationships are really
Mhm.
important. Yeah, you're totally right.